I haven't read something as equally depraved and creepier in my life. Okay, there are other books that are probably creepier than Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass, but something that is as equally as depraved and as clever, I don't think so. So a while ago while I read him, I can't stare at you. I can't. It feels as if you were staring deep into my soul. A while ago, after I read Rimbaud, which is a poetry guy, by the way, and enjoying a lot The Third Policeman, I realized that the love of the world of the nonsense is my world. The world of the logical is my world. And then I remembered the Alice in Wonderland movie from 1951 that they used to pass in the channel back then, and when I was a kid, and it dawned upon to me that if I want to read nonsense, I should read Carol, then naturally I look for the best version out there, and ChatGPT recommended me this one. This edition has the original illustrations and a bunch of notes, which I was hoping will clue me into the whole parody thing and the mythical nonsense. The book does that. It explains to you all what you need to know that you wouldn't get, but it also opens a whole can of worms with it that you just wouldn't imagine. You just wouldn't imagine. Everything I know about Carol is thanks to this annotated edition. It also shows a bit of how his fandom feels about him at times, but most conclusions about everything about Carol are mostly mine, thanks to the context that this edition gave me. Oh, where do I even start? Where do I even fucking start? You don't know about Lewis Carroll. Here's the short version of it. Dude was a fucking creep. He was a creep. He was a creep. He liked little girls. Now, the annotator gives many interesting details that confirm that what you see in the normal text. But in the preface, he says, Carol will be horrified to think that there will be something sexual about his interest. I mean, maybe, but as to me, I don't feel like fully absolving him of everything. He like taking photos. He like taking photos of naked little girls. Yeah, there is no way to recover from that one. There is no way. There is no absolute way on heaven and earth to recover from that one. Some people say that it was normal at the time to take photos of naked little girls, but you and I know that it was not normal. It was not normal. It's just stupid. It's just a stupid argument you could ever make. It was not normal. Period. Dude is a villain. I asked myself a lot how I wanted to see him after reading this freaking fucking book. And the truth is that at the end of the day, I can see him as nothing more than a villain. A mostly harmless villain, yes. A pathetic, sad, poor little villain, yes. A villain that is beloved by many, yes. But a villain nevertheless. A villain nevertheless. I do like separating the art from the artist. In fact, I truly do. I'll always mostly do that. But the thing is that the subject matter that is so awkward to tackle is deeply ingrained with the book's narrative and symbols. There is no way to escape this at all. There is the possibility to escape it in the adaptations of Alice, as I remember with the movie I loved, but not the book at all. These books are first and foremost the melancholy of Lewis Carroll. I also have to admit that their grim background and dark-rich character make the book incredibly more compelling to me. So if there was something I saw that I could interpret with the most eerie, ominous meaning, I did so because I found exploring his deeply sad situation turned into mythology incredibly entertaining and compelling. It is not just a few symbols, not just a few references. The whole mythology, the whole ethos of Alice in Wonderland is constructed on the idealization of Alice Little and the fear Lewis had of losing his child friend into adulthood. I can't kid you not. Now if we all analyze the whole freaking book, this is going to take 10 hours, so we won't. But I'm going to mention some evidence so you can dip your toes into the misery of this sad, pathetic little man, because it's actually quite fun. Book 1. Chapter 4. Alice grows big. Narrator says there seemed to be no sort of chance of her ever getting out of the room again. No wonder she felt unhappy. So you know, it's about staying home. Carol is trying to induce the idea to a child that maybe she should stay as a child because in the real world there is no room to grow. Chapter 7. The Mad Hatter says that it is always 6 o'clock of him. He's stuck since he had a fight with time. It's like Carol saying that he's stuck with time too. Book 2, Chapter 5. The White Queen says that living backwards in time makes her a little giddy at first. So it's like, I don't know, is Carol like saying he feels like Benjamin f***ing Button? Book 2, Chapter 6. Alice says she can help growing older. And then Humpty Dumpty says that 1 perhaps can't, but 2, with the proper assistance, can stay at 7. And then Alice changes the subject. Because, you know... Book 1, Chapter 11. The Dormouse complains about Alice growing on a ridiculous fashion, saying at the very least, he grows at a reasonable pace. In some letters, Carol reveals that the queens are built based on the types of mature woman he didn't like, you know, fear, passion, or whatever the f*** he was thinking. The first poem of the first book is about that girl, Alice Little. The final poem of the second book is in acrostic with her name. The changes on size of book 1, the crow at the end of book 2, everything is about her. Everything. For the final piece of evidence, I bring to you the very poem of chapter 12, which is treated as a criminal confession, which is actually, clearly, and absolutely surely a confession of love. Allow me a moment, I'm gonna read it to you. Here it is. The joy and gem of a poem in all of its splendor. They told me you had been to her and mentioned me to him. She gave me a good character, but said I could not swim. He said then where I had not gone, we knew it to be true. If he should push the matter on, what will become of you? I gave her 1, they gave him 2. You gave us 3 or more. They're returning from him to you, to the were man before. If I or she should chance to be involved in this affair, I trust to you to set them free, exactly as we were. My notion was that you had been, before she had this fit, an obstacle that became between him, ourselves, and it. Don't let him know she liked him best, for this must ever be a secret kept from all the rest, between yourself and me. You can't make this shit up. You can't possibly make it up at all. All feelings are overflowing from the page into reality. This poem is by far the most palpable. You can probably touch it. In the second book, Carol self-inserts again. First, as an old man, he talks with Alice as an old man, as a white knight. He was hoping to stay as, and then he talks to her as a poor wasp in a wig. He was afraid to become. It is incredibly easy to see the insecurities of his heart. The chapter where the poem is seen, the poem I just showed you, is called Alice's Evidence. It is an evidence of love. And yes, surely the characters and story treat it as if all was a matter of nonsense. They make fun of you for trying to make fun of a nonsense poem. They try to imply it is not a confession, but the joke is on you. The joke is on you because this is all just the most thin-veiled obfuscation of feelings. A poem can always be both. It can always be nonsense. It can always depict true and deep feelings. This is what makes the ending of the first book so eerie and ominous. If it was true and absolute nonsense, it would be like Jabberwocky. Do you think it's like Jabberwocky? It f***ing is not. And you know one thing? I do love nonsense, and I do love the world of the illogical and the warp, and I like his mad riddles, and when he got close to suggest the metaphysics and metafiction and all that, I found him a true genius, and I felt his deep love for all things whimsy. But no, he had to turn into a fucking villain. He had to f*** it up. What a fucking moron. You know, it's fine. The book is not only Carol being cursed. There is some math stuff here and there. I said that is kind of cool. The book most of the time only suggests those wild things can exist. Like, for example, in one chapter says that Alice saw something, and then when she looked at it, it was gone, or it changed. You know, that's kind of some sciencey shit that is kind of cool. And then there is whole thing about the milk, like he suggests what will reverse milk will taste like, and then the annotator will say, "Ooh, Carol was a genius because if we had a reverse milk, you could probably explode." We have Carol suggesting shit, and then the annotator saying stuff like, "Genius." He only suggests the weird stuff. But with all this satirical, goofy package on the surface and the melancholy, cursed package on the bottom, it absolutely makes for a full effect. It's just this book is an entire whiplash. So I get why he has his fans. The world of riddles and pure folly, it's the best world there is. But that's not only his only lore. You know, dude is a villain. Many people say he wasn't, but look where they come from. Look. Lewis Carroll Society, Lewis Carroll's Curls. Tell me, do you think those are the most transparent, impartial parties there are about the subject? No. So what gives? Overall, this is an amazing book. Just imagine that you were constantly being groomed by the demiurge. How would that feel? Do you understand the insane of a concept this is? Do you know why Dracula is so popular? I remember that I read that Dracula and vampirism as a whole meant to represent abuse and consent, you know. So when Dracula was taking blood, it was actually, you know, just he was being f***ed. He was being evil. So my question is this book the same? Is it only popular? Is it so popular not just because of what it shows, because of what it doesn't show, but because if that's the case, that will make too much sense. I think that the reasons I enjoy these two books, are not the reasons most people enjoy them, but the truth is, and you can't deny it, that these books are horrifyingly tragic, but also charming and whimsical. They are brimming with personality, but also sad, dark, and requited love. They are incredibly upsetting, but also insightful and fun. And this series is a pop culture staple. You can't make this stuff up. It's insane. This must be the most hilariously creepy books I ever read. And Carroll, even with all his past crimes against humanity, turns into a very sympathetic villain. This book, you know, this one book that has two books, you know, it's a single book, but I guess at the same time it's not. Yeah. How will I summarize this? Albeit his works are too ripe for psychoanalysis to actually represent childhood as a whole, Carroll succeeds in creating distinctive, whimsical dream logic. Beware though, his dream logic accounts for everything what it means to dream. Not just playful pattern recognition or idea processing, but also hideously scandalous dread and emotional turmoil from the lands of depression and obsession. Does that make sense? I'm not saying the Freudians were right with this one, because that would be stupid. That would be stupid. That would be stupid. The basis of Carroll as a character is that he was sexually repressed. He was sexually repressed. Although there is one thing I would like you to explain to me. Can you possibly explain why, after Alice had a talk with not one but two Lewis Carroll stand-ins, why does she go through a coronation, and why at the end, the final scene, in the final scene, there are growing candles. I don't have it on me today. I don't have it on me today. But yeah. Can you explain? Can you possibly explain what that means, Mr. Carroll? Huh? Yeah. This book is f***ed. This book is f***ed. Then understand. Goodbye. Thank you.